Summer's around the corner and I've got another summer themed video for you today. Last week I did a unisex summer fragrances video. Today I'm doing a aquatic marine fragrances perfect to wear in the summer video. Yes, an aquatic marine list. I do enjoy some of them and I do have my favorites. I've got 20 of them here and I'm ranking it today. These are ranked from my least favorite to my most favorite. So if you want to find out what my favorite aquatic marine fragrances are, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. Yes, today I'm doing an aquatic marine fragrances video. These are fragrances that I really enjoy. There's some new ones, there's some old ones. My favorites, of course I'm ranking it, least favorite to my most favorite. A lot of them use marine notes, sea breeze, algae, seaweed, plus, sand and things like that that are all associated with the sea. But I am ranking it as I said, and I've got 20 of them here today. But before I get to the fragrances, if this is your first time tuning into the channel and you still haven't subscribed, please do click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So how many of you are fans of marine aquatic fragrances? I'm challenged with this particular style, especially if it's an overdose of the sea smell or something that smells sulfuric. Cologne as a note that's intense in a fragrance, it turns me off. But if it's in the right amount of dosage, then I can totally embrace it. And I've actually, when I first started, some of the really strong aquatic fragrances just turned me off. But throughout my journey in the last 8 years, heavily into this, I have found some really excellent aquatic fragrances that I really, or marine fragrances that I really enjoy. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the first one. And it's from the house of MONTALE. It's FOUGERES Marines. This is a marine style fougere fragrance that's unisex. I should say these are all unisex today. No male particular or feminine targeted release. But this is mostly a fougere, like your typical fougere fragrance, throwing in some marine notes in there. So there's lavender, there's geranium, oakmoss, musk, and patchouli. So you've got the aromatic touches. It's very spicy and aromatic. But then, you're experiencing this fougere style of fragrance next to the sea. You're smelling the sea, the water, the breeze, and everything like that. So it's kind of like laced with marine notes in there. I do enjoy it, but it's at the bottom here. It's not one of MONTALE's ultra amazing fragrances, but it's here. It's a different kind of marine or aquatic fragrance going into that fougere direction. So FOUGERES Marines from MONTALE at number 20. The next fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is one of the latest collection Cologne Forte fragrances, which I featured a few days ago from MAISON KURKDJIAN. This is AQUA CELESTIA Cologne Forte. So even though they don't mention any watery, aquatic, or marine notes in here, I think this collection, this one and the two others that I spoke about, are all very watery experiences. So not necessarily marine, but more aquatic experiences. But this particular one turned out to be my favorite from the collection, and obviously it's at the bottom of this list. It's not like an ultra amazing fragrance. I think the collection was not really necessary, but I feel like this particular version in comparison to the original AQUA CELESTIA, not the Forte, as I haven't sampled that one, or well, I've sampled it but I haven't worn it too much. I think this one definitely is a waterier experience in comparison to the original. But this is very fruity and citrusy. There's some musk in there. Actually, not a little musk, a lot of musk and some jasmine as well. I think it's pretty solid. Not like an amazingly wow fragrance, but I do enjoy its blackcurrant, blackberry type notes in here that adds this fruity touch to a watery experience, aquatic experience. So MAISON KURKDJIAN AQUA CELESTIA Cologne Forte at number 19. The next fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is HEELEY's Note de Yuzu. So this one is an aquatic citrus or marine citrus fragrance, and the citruses mostly come from the yuzu fruit. They also throw in some grapefruit along with it, so you've got grapefruit and yuzu, kind of a similar fruit, but then they also throw in some sweet mandarin orange, seaweed, sea salt, musk, vetiver. I think it's a solid release, but it's not one of my favorite HEELEYs, but I wanted to include it here because if you're looking for something citrusy with a kind of a grapefruity fruity vibe, then this is definitely a fragrance that you can check into. I don't know if you guys know this brand, and it's not very widely distributed. It's sold at Lucky Scent. It used to be sold at Barney's. Barney's is no longer around, so they haven't really found another retailer. At least I haven't seen one. But I think they have pretty solid releases, and this one is Heeley's Note de Yuzu at number 18. The next fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is Art de Parfum Sea Foam. So this one actually, once again, it's sea foam. You know, the sea foam that you see wash up on the, you know, on the sand. I love that. I love seeing those and photographing them, although they don't look as good on picture as they do in life. The sea foam actually captures it nicely. You smell the sea. It's very aquatic. It's very marine. You've got sea notes, sea salt, bergamot, seaweed, birchwood, lemons, eucalyptus, laurels, fig leaf. So as I'm reading you these notes, there's a lot of green touches here, and you definitely experience the greenness in contrast with the sea kind of seaweed, sea marine touches. So it's marine aquatic, plus it's aromatic, green, and woody at the same time. So I think it's a really great scent. Sadly, it's at the bottom here, but if you like the idea of these green, woody, herbal, aromatic notes in contrast with the sea, aquatic, marine notes, then definitely check out Sea Foam from Art de Parfum. Alright, the next fragrance at number 16, I'm going to the House of Imaginary Authors. This is Falling into the Sea. Now, this one, they don't really credit any sea marine notes, but I definitely get it in there. There's like a, you know, like a sea breezy kind of a touch in there, but it's a fruity experience. So I'm adding sea notes to the list, but there's sand, lychee fruit, grapefruit, lemons, floral notes, bergamot. It's very marine, beachy, fruity at the same time, because whenever I see sand come up, I associate it with beachy fragrances, but it doesn't have like a suntan lotiony vibe, sunscreen vibe, or things like that. It's more fruits along with the sand and of course the sea breeze that I get in here. It's definitely there. Very, very unique fragrance. It's very sandy and fruity, citrusy at the same time. So check out Imaginary Authors Falling into the Sea if you like that idea. The next fragrance I'm talking about is Molton Brown's Coastal Cypress and Sea Fennel. This is it right here. I'm going with the Eau de Toilette, and it's summertime, so summertime Eau de Toilettes are better, fresher. And here we have a similar idea to this sea foam, but less marine to me and more cypress green. And of course it's called Coastal Cypress, so the Coastal Cypress experience is sea breeze hitting the cypress trees and the wind, you know, smells kind of floating in the air kind of a thing. That's what I get with this one. But there is a little bit of leather in here. There's vetiver, there's cypress, there's sea notes, cardamom, fig leaf, and once again it's a green, woody, earthy experience with the sea notes thrown in. And I find a little less sea notes in here in comparison to this one, and a little greener experience, which I really do enjoy. So that's Molton Brown's Coastal Cypress and Sea Fennel. If you don't know that one, do check it out. And then the next one I'm going with is Jo Malone's Wood Sage and Sea Salt, and I think this fragrance inspired this. That kind of sounds similar, but in different directions. Wood Sage and Sea Salt is a very popular fragrance, and it's very sea breezy to me rather than marine aquatic seaweed kind of a thing. And it's also salty because they have a sea salt note in here, but it's musky as well because they have ambrette seeds thrown in here. And I love this note. If you guys ever wanted to learn about ambrette seeds, go check out my video. It comes up in fragrances a lot, and it does add really great depth to fragrances. It throws in fruity nuances, it throws in boozy nuances, and of course some light medicinal touches as well. And here it's working great with that sage, the sea salt, and all these kind of like nuances from the ambrette seeds, which is of course very, very musky as well. So this is Jo Malone, Wood Sage and Sea Salt. Definitely a compliment getter, a crowd pleaser, very, very, you know, pleasant smell kind of a thing. You know, it's not offensive, it won't, you know, grab too much attention. It's just really, really great as a smell, and on skin also I think it will leave a great trail, a light trail, but definitely some trail there. So that's Wood Sage and Sea Salt, a very beautiful fragrance. The next fragrance I'm talking about is from the House of Berdu, Maison Berdu. This is Azure Riviera. So this one is a very happy, uplifting marine fragrance with lots of marine notes. And then of course they throw in some jasmine. A little algae comes in to give it a little bit of, real marine kind of a touch there. More like algae growth in the sea experience. But then they also have lots of orange blossom in here. All those together. The flowers, the citrus flowers, because it does have a citrusy touch. The jasmine, which is this beautiful white flower in contrast with those other sea marine type notes. Match made in heaven for me with this particular fragrance. It's also very inexpensive and kind of similar to the Jo Malone. It's a crowd pleaser kind of fragrance. It does smell great. It's very fresh. It's invigorating and uplifting, and I think it's a great summer marine fragrance. So that's Azure Riviera from the House of Berdu. The next one to me is a different take on a marine fragrance. It's from the House of Juliet Has a Gun. It's Vanilla Vibes. This is has marine touches, but it's vanillic and also salty and a little suntan lotiony. It's at the same time a little beachy as well. I was thinking I'd add Beach Walk as well. I kept smelling it and smelling and smelling it. There's no aquatic marine touches in that one. It's mostly suntan lotiony, sandy kind of skin smell. This one does have, when you smell it, you can totally pick up a little bit of the aquatic marine touches, like a sea breeze thing kind of floating around. But I think it's coming from perhaps the salt. There's salt here, vanilla, tonka beans, orchid, sandalwood, musk, benzoin. It's really, really delicious. Definitely my favorite from the House of Juliet Has a Gun, and I love it. It's just very, very uplifting and warm at the same time. It's got all these warm notes contrasted with the salt notes. So that's Vanilla Vibes from Juliet Has a Gun at number 12. All right, next we go into the House of Maison Margiela, and it's Sailing Day, and this one beat out Juliet Has a Gun's Vanilla Vibes. It's a little more marine, and this is a marine list after all. I really do love the Vanilla Vibes, but this beat it out because it does have more of a marine sea touch. But Sailing Day features sea notes or marine notes with aldehydes, some seaweed, a little spicy pepper, juniper, some amyl salicylate, cedar, ambergris, coriander, iris, and rose. A lot going on in here, but definitely it seems like it's going to be overdose of fishy, marine, aquatic, sea touches, but it's not. It's really, really pleasant to wear. I think some of the notes that contrast with the sea marine notes really do tone down the fishy qualities that you might accomplish when you throw in all those notes together. And it's also very fresh and airy, so I think it's a very pleasant fragrance to wear. Not my top favorite from this house, but still very solid for a marine aquatic fragrance. So that's Sailing Day from the House of Maison Margiela. The next fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is another fragrance that I wanted to feature because it's marine. It's got aquatic touches, but I'm not sure it's really appropriate to wear in the heat of the summer. I'm putting it in here because it has those touches. It's Zoologist Perfumes Squid. This is a very strong fragrance, and it's also very salty and also aquatic marine, but it's sea salt nicely contrasted with ink. There's incense, there's ambergris, benzoin, apopanax, pink pepper, musk, amyl salicylate. This is beautiful. It's a beautiful fragrance. I have a full review of this one on the channel. But again, it's not like a summer freshie, so be warned with this one. A little goes a long way because a lot of the notes are intense, more, winter kind of notes, Popanax, benzoin. All these notes are like strong notes for more warmer fragrances. It does have a very warm touch, but it is also very, very marine aquatic because of some of the notes in here. So that is Zoologist Perfumes Squid. Beware when you're wearing it in the summertime. The next fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is from the House of Veronique Gabay. This is Jasmine de Minuit. If you're looking for an aquatic floral and you love jasmine, this is the one for you to try because the sea notes are fresh and invigorating and very, very breezy here, and contrasted beautifully with the jasmine, patchouli, and vetiver that comes in here as well. I think it's a great scent. This is definitely a freshie. This is a perfect fragrance to wear in the summertime when it's really, really warm outside, in contrast or comparison to the squid, which you would wear little dabbles of or dabs of. But this really, really is a solid release. The jasmine here is really, really beautiful, and it's really beautifully blended with the sea breezy notes that are in here. So number 9, Veronique Gabay, Jasmine de Minuit. Check that one out if you don't know it. The next one I'm talking about is from the House of Jacques Pat, and it's Curaçao Bay. And here we have frangipani flower, That's tropical along with marine notes. There's also musk here, some tangerine, lemons, oranges, petitgrain, ambergris, green notes, black currant, woodsy notes. It's actually almost like you're on a tropical island, you know, experiencing some cocktails of some kind, and then you're smelling the sea, you're, you know, smelling the air, and then you're actually smelling your surroundings. Perhaps you have like flowers growing and things like that. It's a very, very lush kind of a ambiance is what you get, with a lot of overgrowth of like plant life and floral and fauna and things like that where you are. So I think they've captured that here. There's also, you know, some ambergris type touches and fruits in there as well, which is typically a tropical ingredient for tropical territories and things like that. So I think it's a great scent. It's also really nicely performing, but I think this is definitely something you would wear in the summertime. You have great performance and you smell very fresh, but also marine at the same time. Or if you're not in this setting, or you want to experience this setting in the winter time, I think that'll do the trick as well. So that's Jacques Fatte Curacao Bay, a beautiful fragrance that's very marine, tropical. All right, next up we're going to the house of Atelier d'Azores and its Pomelo Riviera. Here we have a very citrusy, floral, marine fragrance that's just really beautiful. I think the combination of the grapefruit that adds zingy spiciness to citruses is beautifully contrasted with the jasmine. I think grapefruit, yuzu works beautifully with jasmine, and also orange blossom. Because orange blossom, jasmine really work wonderfully together. I think the trio of those notes are top notch here. They throw in some salt. They don't credit real like marine notes. It's definitely in there. You experience the sea breeze or some marine notes coming in along with the salt, and then throw in some additional bergamot, some light rose, and a little woodsy cedar, and you have a beautifully gorgeous summer freshie that's aquatic at the same time and very floral citrusy. So that's Pomelo Riviera from the house of Atelier d'Azores. Check that out if you don't know it. The next one I'm talking about is Balade Sauvage from Dior. This actually has become such a great fragrance for me, and it's not your typical marine fragrance. It has marine touches, it also has minerally touches and ozonic touches all, and then solar touches thrown in there as well. All these notes are beautifully contrasted with fig fruit and fig tree because it's green and it's fruity, and then throw in some petitgrain, a little labdanum for ambery touches, and light fruity touches of peach and some hedione with its jasmine qualities, and you've got a winner of a fragrance. It's more of a summer fragrance. It's very fresh because it's not necessarily something that you would wear in this, in the winter time. But I think if you wanted to pull this off in the winter time, it's totally fine. Anybody that loves fig fragrances should also dig into this one if you don't or you haven't yet. I think it's definitely a solid release from the house of Dior, Maison Christian Dior collection. So that's Balade Sauvage from Dior. The next one I'm talking about is from the house of The Harmonist. This is Guiding Water. So Guiding Water is a beautiful, fruity, marine aquatic, more aquatic, a little marine, not too much marine fragrance that's also very long lasting. There's sea notes here, mandarin, orange. There's watermelon here, ozonic notes, pink pepper, lotus, cyclamen, lily, musk, and jasmine. So you do see that there's loads of floral notes here, but watermelon adds a watery, ozonic, marine type quality to the fragrance. And then you also throw in some spices. Lotus flower always is associated with watery fragrances, so it's a very aquatic, marine, fruity, floral experience. So that's Guiding Water from the house of The Harmonist. The next one I'm talking about, without a cap, missing my cap here, it's Ocean Leather from Memo Paris. And this one actually does have a marine thing happening in there, but the brand hasn't indicated any such notes. So I'm just adding my own indication of sea notes in here. So there is a light sea type touch running throughout it, but to me it's very citrusy, aromatic. Loads of mandarin orange, sage, basil, violets, elemi, cedar, vetiver, leather, nutmeg. So it's spices. It's it's leather after all. It does settle to a leather, but it's lots of aromatic, and then of course marine type breezy sea type touches in here. It's really, really beautiful. In fact, I'm actually really digging this one and Sicilian leather. They're very easy to wear leather fragrances. I recently did a video review for Sicilian leather. You can go catch that one. But this one's definitely more of the C type, you know, fusion with the leather note. So that's Ocean Leather from the house of Memo Paris. All right, this next one has crept up really, really high. I'm surprised this is something I'm digging. It's not my typical style. This is Les Parfums de Rosine Blue Abyss. So this is a very minerally aquatic marine fragrance contrasted with resins, rose, and some other fruits and woods and spices. So Blue Abyss from the Les Parfums de Rosine features mineral notes, algae, elemi resin, rose, bergamot, cassis, vetiver, patchouli, oud. The rose is so beautiful here, but even though you experience the rose, the brightness of the rose, there is that algae note that comes in, kind of gives you this kind of like marine-y kind of experience, like the sea. It's totally prominent there. But the mineral touches comes in here as well. Resinous notes, of course. It's brightened up with citruses and some cassis fruit, and then of course some grassy vetiver and some earthy patchouli comes in as well. I think this is great fragrance. I'm embracing you know, aquatic marine fragrances all of a sudden, but it can't be an overdose. It has to have a nice balance. And every single one of these fragrances, if you are one of those types of people that does not like aquatics, definitely if you're willing to, you know, embrace this type of fragrance and you've had a challenging time, you can try these fragrances either in stores or get some samples to experience them. So this is Les Parfums de Rosine Blue Abyss. I think it's really, really great smelling. My number 2 is Frederic Malle's Lys Méditerranée, this one right here. I've been featuring this one a lot. I really do enjoy this one, and the combination is really beautiful. The Mediterranean lily here against the marine notes, and of course lotus comes in as well, so you have marine touches running throughout the fragrance. You do experience the sea, and then you also have some watery touches running throughout it as well. There's angelica, ginger, orange blossom, musk, and vanilla to, you know, round out the fragrance. It's light on the vanilla, it's musky for sure, but it's mostly about the lily, marine notes, lotus, and angelica note. Beautiful fragrance, and that's why it's at number 2. Check it out if you don't know it. My number 1 is from the house of L'Artisan Parfumeur, and this is Un Air de Bretagne, this one right here. It's such a great fragrance. It's such a happy fragrance. As soon as I smell it, it's like, it's uplifting, you know, it's like zing, you know, like that. It just pops. There's something in here about the citruses. There's a lemony touch, and lemons always wake me up, you know, it's uplifting. This one features lots of seaweed, cologne. That's that note I don't care for, but it's perfect here. Cypress, bergamot, citruses, neroli, cedar, and ambergris for a beautiful composition. Really, really beautiful composition. I just love the contrast of the citruses, the lemony, slightly sour, tart citruses with the marine and sea type notes with the seaweed and cologne. A great scent, that's why it's at number 1. And I think this one will be perfect to wear. Both of these will be amazing to wear in this summertime. Amazing. I think they're going to be perfect if you're looking for the marine aquatic fragrances. So that's Un Air de Bretagne from the house of L'Artisan Parfumeur. That's my last fragrance, guys, and this is almost summer, and I'm going to offer a 15% discount code for my t-shirts. I know summertime people wear t-shirts, and I've got some great designs if you haven't checked them out. Use summer as a discount code and you'll save 15% off on all my merch. This is I'd Rather Wear Perfume. This one is Aromatic Fougere. This one is perfect for this theme. This is the Ambergris Alert. And there's a bunch more there. All you have to do is go to my merch store and check out all my merchandise there. Lots of teas, some mugs are there as well, some other items, and it's 15% off with this discount code SUMMER. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in today. If you have any questions or comments, please put it down. Let me know if you've sampled these fragrances. Do you like them? Do you hate them? I'd like to find out what you think about these fragrances. Also, let me know what will you be wearing for summer, and let me know if you'll be wearing aquatics or marine fragrances as well. I'd like to find out if you like them or not. Anyway, appreciate you tuning in. As I said, please like this video, please share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.